Hopefully it isn't too far away. Hopefully. Hop onto the main channel itself. There's a stream currently loading. There we are. Yep. Audio is working as it should. The stream's up, the chat's up, we're all good to go. We'll just be waiting at least a minute before we start the stream proper. 16-car field, a nice healthy size field. When I checked attendance, it was I checked it as 15, but obviously we found somebody to hop in last minute, so a 16-car field, which is really good to see. Again, America Series always doing quite well when it comes to attendance. It's always fantastic. Alright, Captain Sparty has given the ready up call. When the timer hits 0, I'll start the intro. Hello, Spicy. Boogity boogity indeed. Gonna have some good racing, hopefully. Silverstone, it can be a bit of a 50-50 racetrack when it comes to good racing, but hopefully we get to see some good stuff. Alright, hello everyone and welcome to round 11 of the America's Tier 1 Championship here on Race Spec Esports. I'm Everingham, your commentator for this event, and this time we'll be racing at Silverstone Circuit, home of the British Grand Prix. Hosting the first ever official round of the Formula One World Championship all the way back in the year of 1950, Silverstone has evolved tremendously over the years. What was initially a RAF airfield used during the Second World War has turned itself into not only one of the premier racetracks of Europe, but also one of the greatest racetracks of all time. The layout on which we race on today was created in 2011 and measures up at 3.66 miles and consists of 18 corners and 2 DRS zones that lead into the prime overtaking spots of Brooklands and Stowe. Outside of these areas, the drivers will find it difficult to overtake, as this circuit is quite notorious for creating DRS trains. When those long trains start to form, it's almost impossible for any driver to make their way through them. This means qualifying will prove to be incredibly important for achieving victory today. As a result, a car's setup will prove to be an important factor for extracting lap time. Now, that does seem like a obvious thing to say, but here at Silverstone, the track requires the driver to strike a balance between downforce and low drag. There are several high-speed corners around the racetrack that require a lot of downforce, corners such as Cops and the infamous Maggots and Beckett's S's. But there are also several long straights that require low drag. So those slight differences and changes in wing angle, ride height and tyre pressure could make all the difference when it comes to getting lap time in qualifying or giving greater opportunities to make overtakes during the race. Now, before we focus on qualifying, there is a bit of news to go through from last week's race in Australia. A few incident reports to say the least. There was a incident between Mighty Wombat and Blockman that we saw, I believe it was at turn 11. Blockman was found at fault and he was given a whopping 10-second time penalty and 1 penalty point for that incident. There was another incident again involving Mighty Wombat and the Harmesis with a collision, I believe, at turn 3. Tries to run outside. Yes, he gets into the side of Wombat at turn 3. The Harmesis received a 5-second time penalty and 1 penalty point for that incident. And a final report, an incident during qualifying between KD and RF1 Tom. Tom was found at fault for blocking KD on a flying lap. He was given a penalty point because of that incident. With the penalties applied, Blockman would move from P9 to P14 in the final results. The Harmesis would move from P10 to P12. So the championship table now looks like this. Mighty Wombat is leading the way with Saucy right behind. Wombat's on 178, Saucy 177. Literally 1 point separating the top two in the Drivers' Championship. 16 points behind Saucy is Blockman in P3 on 161, and just 7 points behind him is RF1 Tom in the McLaren on 154. Rebellion is next on 133, followed by KD on 115, then VSR Jack on 93, Mr. Nars on 87, Sub for Lime on 82, Youngling rounds out the top 10 on 77 points. In the Constructors, it looks eerily similar. Alpine are leading the way on 294 points, with Mercedes 1 point behind on 293. McLaren are third, they're still in the championship hunt, but they're a fair ways behind on 236. Followed by Aston Martin on 177, they're 1 point in front of Williams on 176, followed by Red Bull Racing on 145, then Ferrari on 129, Haas is P8 on 66, followed by AlphaTauri on 48, and Alfa Romeo on 33 points. Now, I have got information from Sparty, the league coordinator for America's Tier 1, 72% chance for rain during the race, so we might see some mixed weather conditions. I must say that wasn't particularly good there from Professor Phil, getting in the way of Saucy through Aintree. I'm sure Saucy won't be too happy about that, but it's early stages in qualifying. We've still got a long way to go, so hopefully we get to see some exciting stuff out on track. Right, as well, there goes Sergeant Bill. He was right next to Saucy, and then bloop, he disappeared. So he DC'd from the session. He'll come back in a few moments' time. Saucy, it seems that he's bailed on this lap, so he'll make his way around the circuit. He'll either cool the tyres down and have another go, or he'll just go back into pit lane, put on another set of tyres and have another crack later on. See here, the championship leader's making his way round. There is Professor Phil, I believe, right behind. He may be in a bit of trouble post-race. We'll wait and see, because I'm pretty certain that was a block through turn 5. I tell you what, we're going to ride on board with Mighty Wombat. We're going to give you a tour of this 3.6 mile racetrack, the legendary Silverstone Grand Prix circuit. Out of Club Corner, down the Hamilton Straight, towards Abbey, turn 1, 8th gear, absolutely flat out through the opening right-hander, through turn 2, up towards Village, turn 3. Down to 3rd gear, short shift, no, keeps it in 3rd, into the loop, turn 4. It's important that you get a nice exit through here, so you can maximise the speed carried through Aintree, turn 5, and onto the Wellington Straight. Up towards Brooklands, one of the better overtaking spots on the circuit. Down from 8th gear, down to 4th. Nice and tidy on the exit, heading around Luffield, turn 7. Important that you get a nice exit here, so you can maximise the top speed through Woodcote, turn 8, and up towards the iconic Cops Corner of turn 9. On the brakes briefly at the 50-metre board, chucking it through the incredibly fast right-hander, now into the infamous S's of Maggots, turn 10, through 11, into 12, then around turn 13, which is Beckett's, then turn 14, that is Chapel. Now down the Hanger Straight, up towards Stowe Corner, turn 15. We get on the brakes just before the 50 here, or just after the 50 in fact. 6th gear, carried all the way round the corner, now up towards the Vale Chicane, turn 16 and 17. 3rd gear, short shifting to 4th, short shifting to 5th, as he heads up towards the final corner of Club, back onto the Hamilton Straight. And that is provisional pole position for Mighty Wombat, 1 minute 27.486. Stubley here, I believe, is a reserve driver filling in for Red Bull, currently P3 now, as KD jumps to the top, beating his teammate by exactly 1/10 of a second, and takes provisional pole. Little Mick making his way through the final part of the lap. He's going to complete this flying lap attempt. It's going to be a 1:28.404, goes 4th quickest overall. Rebel had a fine weekend back in Australia a week ago. He'd be looking to build on that here in Silverstone. It's unfortunate his teammate is unable to attend. Blockman has a real shot of a championship, and Alpine have more than a genuine shot at the Constructors' title. around the final corner, back onto the main straight. It's P3. Well, the form continues for Rebel. Only 2/10 off pole position. Flavius making his way up towards Copse Corner. An incredibly tricky turn to get it absolutely spot on. And so easy to lose control through there, but Flavius takes it pretty well. RF1 Tom making his way up towards Copse now. Entry speed 189 miles an hour. The apex speed is 172 miles an hour. You can imagine in real life just the ridiculous G-forces you have to put up with as a driver through that section. It's absolutely nuts. Onto the hanger straight up towards Stowe Corner. What kind of top speed will we see here? Just under 200 miles an hour, 198 to be exact. Heading out of Stowe, up towards the Vale chicane. On the brakes, hard, down to third gear, as some driver named Mitch has joined. I don't think he's meant to be. We'll wait and see. Out of club, down the main straight. It is P6 for Tom, just in front of his teammate Sub for Lime. So the McLarens both inside the top 10. Youngling has performed quite well. Solid top 5 contender as he makes his way out of turn 5 and down the Wellington straight. 8th gear, top speed we'll see here, 199, 200 miles an hour, indicated briefly before Brooklands. Around Luffield, turn 7, short shifting up to 4th gear. Will he short shift again? No. Utilises all of 4th gear at the exit of Luffield. Out of Woodcote now, down the old pit straight into Copse Corner, 7th gear. Oh, a bit too wide, unfortunately. That's what I mean. It's so easy to make a mistake through there. Saucy, uninterrupted this time around, will set a 28.164, 5th fastest overall. Everyone else in the pits or on in-laps, I believe. I don't think John's on a flying lap. No, he's not. Flavius is on an in-lap. Youngling, will he move into pit lane? Yes, he will. Allow me to touch on the very tricky pit lane entry here at Silverstone. It's a very, very slow pit lane. You can see only 38 miles an hour, or in metric, that's 60 kilometers an hour. You have to check up quite hard. And I really mean quite hard. Out of Stowe, you're carrying a lot of speed. Heading into the pits, it's so easy to brake that little bit too late and speed into the pit lane entry. So drivers need to be on top of their game in the race to make sure they're not given a speeding penalty just because they broke that little bit too late heading into pit entry. To tell you the truth, that pit entry could probably do itself some huge favours if there was some small braking markers just before the pit lane speed limiter line, just to give the drivers a little bit of assistance, know how far away they are from that white line. Wombat getting ready, KD getting ready as well. Rebels made his way out of the pits. So we'll keep our eyes on Stubley here as he's making his way down the hanger straight towards Stowe Corner. Arguably the best overtaking spot on the side. It's either Stowe or Brooklands that's the best overtaking spot. There are other areas where you can try and make moves. The village hairpin at turn 3 is definitely one of them. The Vale chicane at turn 16, 17 is another, but realistically you need to use DRS to try and get by. And as I mentioned in the intro earlier, because it's such a fast circuit, DRS trains form quickly, and when you're in the middle of those trains, it's next to impossible to make your way through. However, considering the weather report Sparty gave me for the race, I don't think DRS trains will be much of a factor if it's going to be raining all the way through. Stubley down by 33 thousandths to the first sector. What about KD to the first sector? He's making his way through village into the loop, down to third gear. Uses all of third gear on the exit, through Aintree and onto the Wellington straight. Up towards the first sector. Split clock says he's up by 78 thousandths of a second to the first sector. Stubley has invalidated this run. Tom getting ready for a run. Same with his teammate Sub for Lime. Sergeant Bill has just completed a lap at 29.0. Professor Phil, he's getting himself ready for a flying lap attempt. Same with Youngling and Sparty. So we'll look back at KD here as he's making his way through the final part of the middle sector, through the Maggots, Beckett's, and Chapel S's. The yellow's out. That must be... it's either the Pharmacist or Sergeant Bill. Might be Bill getting out of the way of drivers on flying lap attempts. I think that's what he's doing there. Out of Stowe Corner, down towards the final 3 turns of the racetrack. The Vale Chicane of 16 and 17, then Club Corner, turn 18. Back on to the Hamilton Straight. KD will improve by 2.5 tenths to set at 27.131. Youngling on a flying lap attempt, yet to put a time on the board with just under 5 minutes left in qualifying. To tell you the truth, with the time he has left, this could be his final run. He might be able to go back into the pits, put on another set of tyres if he bails on this flying lap. But if he completes this lap, then do an in-lap, he's going to be very tight with time to do one more flying lap attempt. See, this is the problem when you don't set a lap time early in the session. It puts a lot of pressure on you as a driver, and you need to make sure you're managing the clock, the qualifying clock, accordingly. Because if you don't, well, you put yourself in a situation like this where you need to set a flying lap, but you're not in the most optimal conditions to set the perfect lap time. Through Stowe. Now, what does he do? Does he bail or does he complete this lap? He's going to complete it. He's going to be tight with time coming towards the death of qualifying. One of the McLarens has just jumped up. I think that was sub for Lime. Youngling jumps up to top 5. What a surprise. He does that a lot, Youngling. A 27.781. Like I said, top 5 contender more often than not. And it was sub for Lime who just recently jumped up. His teammate, though, is on a lap and he's up by 1/10 of a second to the middle sector split. If he wants to improve position, he doesn't have to improve by much. In fact, that 1/10 of a second will jump him up to P7 if he can keep up the pace. And I think he has. He's making his way through Vale, out of the chicane and up towards Club Corner. Towards the line for Tom, it is P7, 28.317. He's now a 1/10.5 off Saucy, our race winner from the Australian Grand Prix last week. Youngling, he's making his way back towards the pits. Like I said, though, he's going to be real tight with time. Yellow flags are out. It must be Tom. He's out of fuel, I'm guessing. Well, no, he was just driving slowly. 2.5 minutes left. Yeah, I think Youngling's qualifying session is done. It doesn't help as well that in the Williams garage, you have to go through the entire pit lane before you go back into your garage. So, yeah, I think for Youngling, qualifying's done. Stubbly out on track. Rebel making his way towards Cops Corner. Saucy coming out of Luffield. Little Mick going through Luffield. Take it easy. Heading down the Hangar Straight. I'll tell you what. We're going to keep our eye on Take It Easy here. Youngling has retired, understandably. He's run out of time, unfortunately. But P5 is still not bad. 27.7. He is 4/10 in front of Saucy, but we know how quick Saucy can be. Take It Easy. Will he go for it here? He's not switching on the battery just yet. Oh, he's doing a preparation lap. Okay, interesting. He does have enough time to do this. He just can't meander about out on track. He needs to make sure he drives sensibly. But he should have the ability to do this preparation lap. Saucy making his way through the Vale chicane, and AlphaTauri just in front of him, about to begin a flying lap. And here goes Saucy. I'll be interested to see the dynamics between Saucy and the AlphaTauri just in front. Out of turn 1, through turn 2, up towards turn 3. Hard on the brakes, down to 4th gear. Back on the accelerator as he heads around turn 4. Up towards turn 5 now. Out of Aintree, down the Wellington Straight, up towards the first sector split. What does the clock say for the Aston Martin driver? It says he's up by a fair chunk as well. A 2/10 improvement to the first sector. Stubbly making his way through the first sector as well. Rebel about to make his way out of the middle sector. He was up by a tenth. Is he up as well here in the middle split? He is, by 2.5 tenths. So he's looking at a potential front row start. He needs to find more time to try and knock off KD to take provisional pole position. Into the Vale chicane, down to third gear, back up to fourth at the exit of turn 16. Out of the chicane, around the final corner, up towards the line. It is P2 with a 27.2. He's missed out on pole position by just under 1.5 tenths. KD making his way out of Aintree, heading down the Wellington Straight towards the first sector split. He's down, but not by much, by 38 thousandths of a second. Mighty Wombat's up by just under 2 tenths to the first sector. Stubbly is down to the middle sector. He's making his way through the final part of the lap. Little Mick P6, Saucy P7. So not the best of starting positions for Saucy. Be looking to build on it in the race. Stubbly crosses the line. It's P4. He does not improve. What about Wombat, though? He's up by 3 tenths of a second. KD making his way through the middle sector. So we'll keep our eyes on the championship leader. Out of the Vale chicane. Up towards the final corner for Mighty Wombat. Crosses the line. It's not good enough for pole. It's not even good enough for P2. It's a 27.3. KD, 1 sector left, 3 corners to go. I don't think anyone else will be able to challenge him for pole position. I think this is his to claim. Up towards the line though for KD. He improves to do a 27.088. Rebel moves back into pit lane. John crosses the line. That's it. It's qualifying. Done and dusted. KD will start from pole position for the British Grand Prix. 1 minute 27.088 beats a 1 minute 27.263. Less than 2 tenths of a second separating the top 2 cars. Just be waiting on Rebel and Take It Easy to get pushed into their garages. We can retire from qualifying and move on to the race itself. And remember, I got a weather report from Sparty suggesting that there is going to be rain, a 72% chance. Well, it's been a while, KD, though, since you've been on pole position, if I recall. Put it together pretty nicely at the end of qualifying. Be interesting to see how you fare in the race. There we are, and the quali. 27.087 registered on this board here. Was a 8.8 on the leaderboard before this screen popped up, but there you go. Then Rebel in P2, followed by championship leader Wombat P3, Stubbly P4, then Youngling P5, Little Mick P6, solid from him, Saucy P7, 1 second off, maybe he has a wet setup on that car. Tom P8, followed by Sergeant Bill, Take It Easy, Sub for Lime, John C, the Harmesis, Professor Phil, Sparty, and Flavius will start from the back of the grid in 16th position. Alright. Oh yeah, she raining. She is raining. Intermediate conditions, it looks like. Does not look like it's heavy enough at all for wet weather tyres. Oh, alright. This should be fascinating, especially if we get any dry periods during this race. That will spice things up immensely. Drivers need to fine-tune their setups. If anyone's running dry set, well, look, if I was in this race, I would just run a dry setup. Knowing me. Just have the dry setup and just sort of deal with it during the race. Maybe increase the wing a little bit here and there. Just to try and get that little extra downforce. But typically I just run dry setups. But I know with some people, they really like to run with some hybrid setups where they work in the dry, but adjusted, they work well in the rain. Now, the timer popped up pretty early there. I don't think that was Sparty giving the go-ahead. I think someone pressed that early. Typically, Sparty informs the drivers just, you know, don't click the ready up button just yet. Just give some time for everyone to adjust their setups. Make sure they have the right amount of fuel in the car. You know, just to make it fair for everybody. I think someone pressed that early, though. We'll wait and see. Alright, everyone on inters? Yeah, we don't need that. Alright. Don't need that. There's a predicted pit stop strategy. Now, if it does rain all the way through the race, I'll be keen to see if anyone can do a no-stopper here at Silverstone on the intermediate tyre. It's been a while since I've done a intermediate race here at Silverstone, so I don't know off the top of my head. KD doing some exploration down the Wellington Straight. You know, just checking on the marshals, see if they're okay. Admiring their flag waving skills. Thank goodness you don't get damage on a formation lap, otherwise we'd have some pretty frustrated drivers on formation laps. KD making his way back through. We'll just run through the order just quickly, just to fill the time. So we have KD starting from pole. Rebel will start alongside in second position, followed by Mighty Wombat in third. Stubbly in P4, then Youngling, P5, Little Mick will start P6, followed by Saucy in 7th, Tom in 8th, Sergeant Bill in 9th, Take It Easy rounds out the top 10. Subperline P11, followed by John in 12th, the Harmacist in P13, Professor Phil in P14, and the two AlphaTauris of Sparty and Flavius will start from the very back in 15th and 16th. Everyone is on the intermediate tyre. No blue sky anywhere around Silverstone right now. So this weather isn't going to dry up anytime soon. KD making his way back onto the main straight, the Hamilton Straight. He'd be lining up on the outside towards turn 1. Yep, the outside. So he's on the cleaner side of the racetrack. Should get him a better start, but if he doesn't get a good start, well, Rebel will have the inside line heading towards turn 1. Flavius is now lined up ready to go. All 16 drivers are ready to race. We got 26 laps in front of us and 10 red lights. We're underway here at Silverstone. It's a nice start from Revel from P2. It's a nice start from Stubbly as well. He moves up to third. Into turn 1 we go. It's tight, but KD leads. Rebel in second. Running wide is Wombat. He's battling Youngling for position. As we head towards turn 3, everyone getting through relatively okay, or just about. Yellow's out. It's Sergeant Bill in the Alfa Romeo spinning around at the exit of turn 2, side by side. A little moment there from Mick. Saucy tries to draw alongside, heading through turn 5, but can't do it. Or battle on here for P9. John, Take It Easy, heading towards Brooklands, turn 6. Down the inside goes the Haas. He moves through. Wombat and Rebel battling for position. Side by side through turn 7. Exiting Luffield now towards Woodcote, then Copse Corner. The drivers need to be measured here. Copse Corner is difficult enough in the dry, in the wet. They're all getting through pretty well, keeping off the curbs. It's the most important thing. Through the S's now. Saucy gets by Little Mick, so Mick must have made a mistake through Copse. Allowed an opportunity for Saucy to get by. Down the Hangar Straight towards Stowe Corner. KD still leads. Stubbly with a great start is in second. Rebel third. Championship leader Wombat in fourth. As we head out of Stowe towards the Vale Chicane. Everyone line astern. No one being overly aggressive at the start. Some random has joined as Professor Phil moves into pit lane, so evidently he must have got damage on the opening lap. He goes in to get that fixed. Out of turn 2, towards turn 3. See the Red Bull in front, Stubley driving quite well. John gets by his teammate. So John up to P8, Little Mick down to 9th. Tidy run out of Aintree as we head down the Wellington Straight for the second time. None of these guys really in any sort of position to battle just yet. Tom's on the back of Youngling. Can't quite find a way by though. We head around Luffield. See that Tom is close. He's got nice traction out of Luffield. Doesn't quite have the top end speed though, it seems, of the Williams. The Williams pulls away down the old pit straight. Through Cops. Tom is close. Just not quite close enough. Through Maggots. Into Beckett's go the leaders. Again, there's the predicted pit stop strategy. Lap 13 to 21. Now down the Hangar Straight towards Stowe. Rebel close. Not close enough though. Stubley losing a little bit of ground to the race leader. Gap has increased to almost 8/10. Not a great run there from Rebel. Broke a tad bit late. It compromised his line into the corner. Lost about 3/10 through there. Gains it back though. Through Club. John sets a new fastest lap at 39.7. Drivers behind. No one really in any sort of position to battle just yet. Everyone's entered survival mode in these opening laps. No one wants to battle just yet. It's a smart thing to do. Oh! Through Aintree, I think from that camera angle, it looked like Rebel got a tad bit sideways. Oh, yeah. Oh, speaking of sideways, someone's around. It's the harm assist. Not looking great for Alfa Romeo right now. P14 and 15. Sergeant Bell had the spin at turn 2 on the opening lap. The harm assist, a spin at turn 5. Stubley under pressure as we head through Cops Corner. There's a race leader. There's P2 and 3 running wide. Goes Rebel. Costing him a little bit of time. He now has Mighty Wombat right on his gearbox. Through turn 12. Towards turn 13. And the left of turn 14. Back onto the Hangar Straight. Rebel closing in. Heading towards Stowe. Not close enough to make a pass. It's a little bit too far behind. Oh, Paso Stubley made a mistake. Around the outside goes Youngling. Contact. Go around turn 17. So Stubley now down to P6. He must have made a mistake coming out of Stowe. It's cost him several positions. He made contact with Youngling. He's now down in P6. Heading around turn 3. Up towards turn 4. Nice and easy in 4th gear. Gently applying the accelerator. Being very steady there. Looking at his tyre temperatures as well. They're sitting at a steady 80 degrees Celsius. Not too hot, not too cold. Now Rebel has the task of keeping up with the race leader KD. He's doing that pretty well. The gap sitting at 4.5 tenths between the top two. About half a second now, it seems like KD's got some serious straight line speed in that Mercedes. He's able to pull away. Pulled away a little bit more through Cops Corner too. Through the S's. Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel. Back onto the Hangar Straight. The gap still sitting at about 6/10. So the top two pretty even. Saucer gets by Stubley at the exit of Chapel. So he moves up to P6. Stubley down to 7th. Tidy run out of Stowe. It's important that you don't run too wide there at the exit of the long right-hander. Otherwise the game will give you a track limits warning. Moment there from the race leader. A huge slide at the exit of Club. He caught it well. He lost a couple of tenths though to Rebel. Out of turn 2, heading into Village, turn 3. All that KD needs to do is to not make any mistakes. He should be able to hang on to the race lead. Rebel will find it next to impossible to try and make a move unless he gets a mega run. Heading into probably Brooklands. I'd say in these wet weather conditions, Brooklands would become the best overtaking spot. Followed maybe by Village, turn 3. You can see heading down the hangar straight, heading towards Stowe. The drivers get close, but just not close enough to make a move into the long right-hander. Out of the other long right-hander of Cops Corner, we head towards the S's. Into Maggots, the left, through turn 11, then turn 12, around Beckett's, then through Chapel. Rebel, pretty tidy run there, dumping some of the battery as well, while sitting in the slipstream. Not closing in by enough though to try and attack the car in front. Just keeping up the pressure. Try and create an unforced error from KD. See the gaps, they are close. No one's quite close enough to do anything just yet. We have to be patient. Allow the race to evolve a little bit. Youngling, new fastest lap, 38.6. So with the fuel loads coming down, the pace is starting to increase. Maybe the track might be drying up a little. Well, it doesn't look like it. We still have grey clouds everywhere, not a hint of blue sky. Tidy exit from the top two. Rebel's got a solid run going. But again, he's too far behind. Yellow's out. It's the harm assist, I believe it is. Making a mistake at the final corner. No damage, no safety car, no nothing. Just a brief hiccup there for the harm assist. He's still in the points. P15, he just needs to keep on trucking. Around turn 9. Oh, a bit of a moment, I think, there from Rebel, from the corner of my eye. I thought I saw that Alpine kick a bit sideways. Sergeant Bill gets by Insane Sparty. Sparty gets back at him. What's going on between these two? That's through Cop's Corner. Running wide goes Sparty. Bill gets in front. Sparty moves down to P14 after his little excursion wide at Cop's Corner. Rebel's close. He's right on the back of KD, applying that pressure. Onto the Hamilton straight. Rebel's got a run. He's closing the gap. Shows the nose. But doesn't go for a move. You don't want to go for a move at turn 1. Sergeant Bill gets by Flavius. That is for P12. Out of turn 3, around turn 4. So much easier being the chaser rather than the chasee. KD under a lot of pressure. Rebel driving well. But KD's hanging on pretty well himself. He hasn't made a mistake. He's kept it tidy. He needs to keep that up if he wants to hang on to the race lead. Onto the old pit straight. Harm assist is in, so maybe he did get damaged. It didn't look like the front wing was broken. It seems like it was. Yeah, new front wing. On the Alfa Romeo, leaves pit lane, now in 16th. Heading around Chapel onto the hangar straight once again. The gap, 2.5 tenths. Look at that train. Top 6 cars within 3 seconds from 1st to 6th. Absolutely ridiculous stuff. Oh, Rebel got close to tapping the rear end of KD's car right there. Bit of a wiggle as well. Might leave him a tad bit vulnerable to Mighty Wombat in 3rd. He's right behind now. Through turn 1. Into turn 2. up towards turn 3. The leading train, we have KD, Rebel, Mighty Wombat, Youngling, RF1 Tom in the McLaren, and Saucy right behind him in the Aston Martin. Out of turn 5, heading down the Wellington Straight towards Brooklands. Rebel's close, not close enough to attack into turn 6. Again, just applying that pressure. Going to be a fairly calm few laps between these guys. I don't think they're ready to battle hard just yet. Just want to tick over some laps. Try and survive for a little bit. Through the S's. Nice and steady. Rebel pretty spot on with his apexes there. You can tell from that camera angle. It's pretty spot on, and now he's on the attack. He's close. See, he's not really trying to go for it. He just wants to put pressure on KD right now. Make KD's race difficult. See that huge lift into the corner. Huge lift. So this is some of the gamesmanship you tend to see in these conditions. First of all, it's all about surviving. You want to get through these conditions without making a mistake. Secondly, you can try and create one. Put pressure on the car behind. The car in front, I should say. Try and make them lose focus. When that mistake crops up, you gain. Gain position. Just like that! Oh, this isn't going to work! Here comes Wombat. No, he's too far behind. Way too far behind. So KD with a bit of a mistake. Rebel sort of forced around the outside. He had to back off. There was no way he was going to go side by side with KD on the grass. That was never going to work. Rebel did the wide thing. He just backed off. Got back in behind KD. That's what I mean. Those mistakes. Those little mistakes where you can capitalize immensely. Rebel almost pulled it off. It's unfortunate he was forced around the long way. Around turn 14. Dumping a bit of the battery. KD, a little bit less battery by comparison. 13, 12% compared to, I think that's 30%? Yeah. The Rebel twice as much in comparison to KD right now. Head through the Vale chicane, nice and steady, hit your marks. Just like that. Keeping off the curve, very smart thing to do in these conditions. A little bit of curve on the outside there, doesn't hurt. Through turn 1. Round turn 2. Short shifting up to 7th. Into the hairpin of Village. KD made a mistake through this part of the circuit on the last lap. Can he keep the car under control this time around? He does. Rebel a bit too far behind to do anything into turn 6. So there's some good battling out in front. Yellow's out. That would be the Harnesser slowing down out of turn 9. Cop's corner. They must have made a mistake. It's not exactly the most exciting, intense side-by-side racing that you tend to see. But trust me, there's a lot of games going on between these guys in the top 6. This is as intense as it probably can get in these wet weather conditions. Saucy at the back of the train, minding his own business. Oh, a bit of a wiggle though through turn 14. Rebel close, but again, look, he's just staying behind, minding his own business, closing in a little, but again, big lift, doesn't want to go for an overtake. KD misses the apex at turn 16, again, draws Rebel closer, amps up the pressure, look at a run, Rebel trying to show the nose, telling KD, oh look mate, I'm trying to go for you. Even though that's not what he's trying to do. Through turn 3. Up towards turn 4. Nice and steady. Take it easy. Overtakes Little Mick. That's for P9. Round Aintree. Rebel gets a very nice run through that left-hander. His car looks very stable. Very much under control. And there's Stubbly back in P7. 2.9 seconds back. We've got to keep an eye on that gap. Saucy, a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Must have done that at the exit of turn 6. Maybe he cut a bit too much of turn 6 as well. Either way, he got it at turn 6. Cutting a lot there, Rebel. His car smashed the curb cam at the apex of turn 9. You can see Rebel, but he's just nailing the apexes through the S's. Maybe missed it a little bit there at turn 13, but he's got a run going. Down the hanger straight we go. He's putting some real pressure on now. Closing up, showing the nose, but again not going for the move. This is good tactical driving here from Rebel. KD's resisting well. Nice front wing cam through the chicane. Round the final corner, yellow's out. That is the harm assist at turn 2. And towards turn 1. Where is harm assist? Got going again. Making his way around the village hairpin. Rebel P2. Mighty Wombat P3. Enjoying the show. Watching the top 2 dice it out in these very, very tricky conditions. Through turn 6. Nice and steady. All 3 cars leading the way. Getting through the section nice and tidily. Youngling still in there. Same with Tom. Saucy's dropped back. Now I imagine he's made a mistake somewhere. That's why he's dropped back so much. Mistake I didn't quite catch. He's now 1.7 seconds behind. So what was a 6-car fight has turned into a 5-car fight at the front. But if Saucy can catch up, and if Stubbly can follow Saucy, it'll turn into a 7-car fight at the front of the field. Kind of insane that this is still going. This train of cars still battling for position. Still trying to survive. Rebel round the outside here. At turn 16. Dives it in deep. Gets in front of KD. And there goes Wombat down the inside of his teammate. Couldn't make that move stick. So Rebel takes the lead. A great move round the outside. At turn 16. Youngling is close. Not close enough though to try and make a move. Now can Rebel break away? Got 7 tenths already on KD. 9 tenths on KD. Is KD in trouble? Has he got damage or something? He's losing a tremendous amount of time to Rebel. Come on, give me an outboard shot game, thank you. No, his front wing looks okay. But Rebel's bolted. He's got 1.4, 1.3 seconds over KD already. That car looks intact. There you go. Rebel disappearing into the lead. Through turn 9. Up towards the Maggots and Beckett's S's. The gap is increasing. 1.7 now. Through the S's. Out to Beckett's into Chapel. The gap increases to 1.8. Down the hanger straight towards turn 15. Stowe corner. Well, it seems that Rebel is biding his time. He's had this pace. He just hasn't found a way by KD. Youngling. Wombat is in. Wombat into pit lane. At the halfway mark of this British Grand Prix, he's in. Trying to go for a bit of an undercut on his rivals. Well, an undercut if his rivals pit, of course. Well, Tom, you cut a little bit too much there at turn 1, I'm afraid. That's a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. So Wombat in. Surely just another set of inters. Yeah, another set of inters. Sergeant Bill doing the same. So Wombat will rejoin in clear air. He's given himself a license to put the hammer down. Take it easy, Little Mick and sub for line P8, 9 and 10. Making their way onto the Wellington Straight. Sub for line closing in. Not flying up though. Stays behind. Meanwhile, you can see the Harmacist getting out of the way. That's why we have yellow flags out. That's really good stuff there from the Harmacist. Making sure he obeys the blue flags, as he should. Ghosting might be turned on, but the drivers still have to obey the rules of the blue flags and get out of the way of the race leaders. So that's well done there. Rebel, what does he do? We've just seen Mighty Wombat pit. Does Rebel do the same? No. Oh, yes he is. Sorry, it looked like it was taking a regular racing line. He's in. KD's in. Youngling stays out. Tom is in. Checks it up well. Saucy in. Stubbly in. John stays out. Take it easy. In the Ferrari. Does not go in. Neither does Little Mick or Sub for line. So some new intermediate tyres being bolted on the cars. Yellow's out. Is that the Harmacist? It is. So where does Wombat come out relative to everyone else? Keep an eye on that blue dot making his way out to the pits and through turn 1. The Rebel ends up in front. But the undercut has worked for Wombat. He is in front of KD. 2.3 seconds is the gap now between Wombat and his teammate. And Wombat will have his sights set on Rebel in P6 now. So a good bit of strategy there from Wombat, proactive thinking, and he's made it work. See if KD can catch up to his teammate, or at least keep up with his teammate. Because if everybody else pits, KD will be on for a podium finish. Keep an eye on this 3-car fight, shall we? Yellow's out. That is the Harmacist slowing down. Getting out of the way. Through the S's we go. Take it easy, Little Mick, sub for line. Little Mick, we saw there cut a little bit too much of turn 13. He got a warning and now has a 3-second time penalty. Youngling into the pits. He may come out worst out of everyone of that leading group because of how long he stayed out. See if it worked. Take it easy. Staying out. Same with sub for line. Little Mick is into the pits. Yellows were out briefly then. Guessing the Harmacist getting out of the way. I'm guessing. Take it easy. Up to second. Sub for line. Up to third. The Harmacist. A 5-second time penalty for speeding into the pits. He proceeds to retire in pit lane. Here comes Youngling out of the pits. So KD gets in front just. Youngling into P7. Tom round the outside at turn 3. They'll turn into the inside at turn 4. Heading out to the left-hand hairpin towards Aintree, turn 5. Tom trying to fight. It's tight. There's contact. They both get through. But here comes Saucy. He draws alongside the McLaren. Contact! Unnecessary contact. Down the inside goes Saucy. Oh, can't quite pull it off, but he moves himself into P8. I don't know why Tom swerved to the left there. That just seemed very unnecessary. Tom swerved left and bumped Saucy there. Sure, it was just an accident, but it could have been so much more. But that was a nice move from Saucy there. Proactive thinking going down the inside. Almost pulled it off. Almost made the move stick on Youngling. Just didn't quite work. Back up to these 3. So John stays out for another lap. Will one of these drivers take a gamble and get to the end on these tyres? Maybe that's what they're trying to do. Or maybe Maybe there's a dry period coming, although, from what I can tell, there's still not a single bit of blue sky anywhere. So, if there is some dry weather coming, it's not coming for a while. Rebel flying. 37.3. He's just set. He is 2.7 seconds behind Subfeline in third. Mighty Wombat now 2 seconds behind Rebel. So it seems that Rebel's got the pace right now to at least keep Wombat at bay and even pull away from the championship leader. KD hanging on to P6. Youngling in P7. Can he close in? Certainly trying to. The gap shrunk quite considerably. Through turn 6. Up towards turn 7. Youngling needs to apply a similar tactic mindset as Rebel did about 10 laps ago, where he's just behind KD trying to apply pressure. Trouble is though for Youngling, he's got a couple of hungry drivers right behind him who want to get a move on. Saucy and Tom, they're going to be quick. And they want to try and get ahead of these guys and try and build up a margin, because they have time penalties they'll have to deal with towards the end of the race. Down the hanger straight towards Stowe. Youngling closing in. Yeah, not close enough to attack, but he just needs to stay behind, play patient. Try and wait for the right opportunity to pounce. Tidy run through Vale. Bit of a moment there from KD. But KD recovers well onto the Hamilton straight. Oh, but a poor run through 1 and 2. Youngling's close. KD half defends. Onto the grass briefly there for Youngling. Round turn 4. Professor Phil into the pits. Coming out to turn 5 now. Heading up towards Brooklands. Dumping a bit of the battery. Don't think he'll be close enough. Saucy looking for a move too. He's right behind. So this battle here is starting to intensify. We'll move to this. Rebel closing in on fresh tyres. Has to try and negotiate the traffic in front. I believe John, Take It Easy and Sub, they're all trying to get to the end on those tyres. They're going to be fairly cooked, but I think they can do it. Through the S's we go. Take It Easy at the front of this queue. Mighty Wombat closing in. Corner by corner. Rebel launching an attack here. Trying to draw alongside Subfeline. He's just quick enough. Looking down the inside, heading into Stowe. With the extra grip, he's able to get in front and move himself into P3. KD still under pressure from Youngling behind. Youngling driving quite well right now. KD desperately trying to hang on. It really just seems like he doesn't have the pace here in these wet weather conditions. Rebel closing in on Take It Easy. Now John, who is 6 seconds in front of the Ferrari driver, needs to take full advantage of what's happening here. Try and minimise the time lost to Rebel. Rebel's got a mega run though. He's dumping the battery. Take It Easy. He's got decent straight line speed, but he won't have the grip. He'll try and fight around the outside. He overcooks it. Will he try and send it here at turn 7? No, is the answer. Rebel going right round the outside. Bit of a moment though. Another wiggle. Contact. Light contact between Rebel and Take It Easy. And now Mighty Wombat joins the battle. Looking down the inside, heading into Cobb's corner. He gets in front. He's into P4. Now Rebel needs to pull away and have his eyes firmly set on the car in front. The gap is 6 seconds between John and Rebel. Through the S's, KD, Youngling, Saucy, Tom, Stubley. P6 down to 10, battling for position. Down the hanger straight towards Stowe corner. Youngling not close enough. John's in. He can't keep going. He's in. Wombat gets by. Take it easy. Take it easy now, down to 4th. Coming out of club corner, down the Hamilton straight. Wombat now into P2, 1.5 seconds behind Rebel. John tumbling down the order after making his late pit stop. I'm guessing he just couldn't try and get to the end of the race. If he did, that would have really been something. Could have been a podium finish up for grabs. Into turn 6. Through turn 7. Self-alignment, take it easy. Still running. There's still a chance for take it easy to potentially finish on the podium. Maybe even sub for line. Heading on to the old pit straight. Towards Copse Corner. KD hanging on. He's done a lot of hanging on throughout this race. Still a solid chance of him finishing on the podium if Take It Easy and Subflyme can't make it on their tyres. Heading down the hanger straight towards Stowe. 2.5 tenths is the gap between KD and Youngling. Youngling close, but just not close enough. Up towards the Vale chicane, turn 16 and 17. Nice and tidy. Oh, bit of a wiggle though from Youngling. Cost him a little bit of time, not a lot, just a little. Still very much keeping this fight alive. Gap's now 1 second between KD and Sub for line. There's 1 second between Sub and Take It Easy in P3. Rebel pulling away out in front. He's now got 1.9 seconds between himself and Mighty Wombat. Through Brooklands. Into Luffield. Nice and tidy from KD. Not as tidy from Youngling. He's under a bit of pressure from Saucy in P7. There's Tom right behind. Through Cops. KD, he'll have less pressure on him through here. Youngling not as close to try and attack. Now he'll have his sights firmly set on the cars in front. Down the hanger straight towards Stowe. Youngling closing in. Through turn 15. How will Take It Easy and Subflyme fare in this battle? They're on old tyres, potentially in puncture territory. Rebels doing well, setting a new fastest lap, leading the way. There's Youngling Saucy having a look. Or close enough for a move at turn 1. Through turn 2. Up towards turn 3. Sub for line, Take It Easy. Hanging on pretty well here. Saucy, Youngling, battling for position. Through turn 5, this is tight. Contact! They get through. How on earth did they get through that? My word, that was almost a certain spin there at turn 5, and somehow that didn't happen. They both got through unscathed. Saucy up to P6, that ultimately means very little though, as he has a time penalty next to his name. Tom on the back of the Williams now, looks to the inside, but you can't commit to a move at Copse Corner. Can't do it. Otherwise, you'll just punt the car in front of you into the wall at speeds of excess of 120 miles an hour. And the dark Max Verstappen, how that feels. Through turn 15. Up towards the Val chicane. Tad bit wide there from Saucy. That might have been a warning. Deep on the brakes. Pulls it up well. Pulled it up pretty well. Making their way around back onto the Hamilton straight. These drivers will now begin lap 23 of 26. 4 laps to go. Into turn 3. Saucy very deep on the brakes. He's very committed on the brake pedal. He's able to check it up really late. Get right onto the driver's gearbox into the braking zone. Sub for Lime closing in on Take It Easy. This is a battle for the final podium spot. You can see on old tyres they haven't made a pit stop. They're still running out there. These time penalties are going to play a huge part in determining who finishes where. Saucy, Tom and Stubbly all having penalties. Same with Little Mick down in P11. Through turn 9. Up towards the Maggots and Beckett's S's. KD! He's passed by Saucy. Contact! KD moved wide. Down to P. Contact again! And KD goes into the infield. So contact between him and Saucy, then contact between him and Youngling, sends KD around. He's now down in 9th position. Tom Youngling now battling for position, heading towards the Val chicane, not close enough to move through. Bit of drama heading towards the end of the race. The drivers aren't being so kind now. They're going for it. Going for whatever they can. It's unfortunate for KD. He was looking at a top 5 finish. He is now down in P9, and I think that's where he'll stay. On lap 24, down the inside goes Saucy. Gets in front of Sub for Lime. Now it's a side-by-side battle through turn 5. He gets in front. Oh, forces Lime wide. Moves through into P4. Can Sub for Lime fight back? He doesn't. Stays behind Saucy in P5. Tom's now in on the action. He's trying to find a way by Youngling. He's got the run. Down the inside at Woodcote. This will get tight. Heading towards Copse. And wisely, Tom doesn't go for the move at Copse corner. Stays behind. Through the S as we go. Turn 10. 11. Through 12. Up towards turn 13. Then 14, onto the hanger straight. Oh, a huge moment from Tom. He's wide, he's on the grass. He's down to 8th. Oh, it's all starting to kick off. Youngling and Sub for Lime now battling for position. Saucy trying to close in on Take It Easy. He's trying to pass him. Down the inside he goes. Take It Easy. Can he fight back? No, is the answer. John C. is out of the race. He's crashed on the hanger straight of all places. John, who was leading periodically in this Grand Prix, is out. There he is there. He's gone into the outside barrier, exiting Chapel. How on earth has he pulled that off? Sub for Lime. Youngling battling around turn 4, heading up towards turn 5. Stubbly's getting in on the action as well, trying to go round the outside at Aintree. He's now drawing alongside, down the Wellington Straight, towards Brooklands. Side by side they go, and Stubbly makes the move, round the outside. Tom's going to try and follow suit, down the inside at Luffield, and he moves through. Sub for Lime being bullied all the way down to P8. Fortunately for him, he's still going to gain positions thanks to the time penalties from the cars in front. And Saucy, he has a real shot of finishing on the podium, but there is a question mark. Oh, Tom gets another 3-second time penalty. Saucy was involved in an incident with KD that ultimately resulted in KD tumbling down to 9th. There might be, and probably will be, an incident report in regards to that. Down the hanger straight, down the inside. Youngling moves through into 4th. There's a chance for the Williams driver to finish on the podium, but he needs to close in on Saucy. The gap's at 3.1 seconds between these two cars. Both drivers need to set qualifying laps on the final lap of the race to see who will finish on the final podium spot of this British Grand Prix. Game is on between these two. Out in front though, Wombat's on his own. He's set for second, and Rebel driving very tidily right now. He's set for his first win of the season. Take it easy under pressure from Stubley, trying to go around the outside here at turn 5. He's got the grip, he's got the traction, he's got the power, he's got the position now. He moves through into 5th. Take it easy. Can he fight down the inside here at Brooklands? He's trying, but he doesn't have the grip. Stubley moves through into P5. There's Tom just behind as well in P7. Imagine if there weren't any time penalties, this would be a much more interesting battle. Youngling is giving it everything. He is just within 3 seconds of the Aston Martin driver. He is 2.7 seconds behind. It's going to be a tight fight for that final podium spot. It's not going to be a tight fight, though, for who's going to win this race. Rebel has put on a fine performance here at Silverstone. Put on a fine performance last week in Australia, but ultimately lost the win to Saucy. Well, he isn't going to lose it this time around. Towards the final corner, Rebel will win the British Grand Prix. Followed by Mighty Wombat, our championship leader, will come home in second. Saucy will cross the line in third. He will not keep it though. Youngling makes his way out of Vale, through Club. He will take the final podium spot here at this race at Silverstone. Saucy in 4th. Stubley down to 7th at the line. Take it easy, gets a top 5 finish. Subfalime in P6. His teammate Tom in 7th. KD just misses out on 8th place. I'm sure he won't be a happy KD. He wasn't a happy KD from last week in Australia. What was looking like a certain top 5 ends up a 9th place finish. Sergeant Bill 10th, Little Mick 11th. Then we'll have Insane Sparty in P12, followed by Professor Phil and Flavius. Well, wait. What a interesting end to the Grand Prix that was. Drivers really going for it right at the end there. And towards the line from Professor Phil, that's P13 for him, then Flavius will be next in P14. He'll be our final finisher of this British Grand Prix. Driver of the day, Subfalime. Fair play. I think in fairness it had to be given to one of the two drivers who did the entire race on those intermediate compound tyres. But there's no doubting who's the winner of this Grand Prix. Rebel put on a fine performance. A smart, intelligent, well-executed drive. Wins his first race of the season. P2 goes to championship leader Mighty Wombat. P3 to Youngling, his second podium of the season. The unofficial results then of the British Grand Prix. Rebel is your race winner with fastest lap as well, a 36.9, a dominating performance from the Alpine driver. Mighty Wombat will finish in P2, Youngling completing the podium places in 3rd. Saucy recovered well to P4, a question mark next to his name though after that incident with KD through the Maggots and Beckett's S's. Take it easy, gets a top 5 finish, started P10, finishes P5, driver of the day. Subfalime P6 after starting P11, both drivers doing a no-stopper in this Grand Prix. Stubley P7, followed by Tom, then KD in 9th, a not so happy KD I imagine, followed by Sergeant Bill, Little Mick and Saint Sparty, Professor Phil and Flavius, our final finisher. John C and the Harmisis both retiring in the race, though John is classified 3 laps down, so you might end up scoring a point. What a fascinating race this turned out to be. We had a lot of tactical driving, I think, particularly at the front of the field early in the race. And I feel like in these sort of conditions, you kind of have to resort to tactics rather than outright aggression. Unless you're really quite good in intermediate conditions or wet weather conditions, it's very difficult to be really aggressive and try and make moves, especially around a racetrack like Silverstone. I mean, it doesn't help that with Silverstone it's so difficult to make moves in the first place. With wet weather conditions, it's almost impossible. We did see some good battling, though, and towards the end, the aggression started to ramp up. We got to see some interesting action towards the end of the Grand Prix. But early on, it was all about tactics, and Rebel played it to perfection. He put KD under pressure early on, tried to create a mistake. There was a mistake at turn 5 from KD that almost resulted in an accident between those two, but they got through unscathed. But ultimately, Rebel got in front. A nice move round the outside at turn 16. Mighty Wombat almost followed through, but didn't quite pull it off. But speaking of Wombat, pulled off the undercut. That's what secured him second place. He was driving in the top 5 all race, well, the beginning half of the race. And then when the pit stop period came around, he chose to undercut, and it worked perfectly. He got out in front of his teammate. He was the only challenger to Rebel. Rebel was just too quick, though, throughout this race. So second was the best that he could manage. And with Youngling, that was a mega effort on the final lap. We know how quick Saucy can be. Well, you were a bit quicker on that final lap and managed to take that final podium place away. So a mega effort. And also just a solid effort all race. Kept within the top 5, top 6 region all the way through. Kept out of trouble. Was involved with that incident between Saucy and KD through the S's. The secondary bit of contact between yourself and KD ultimately resulted in KD spitting out into the grass on the inside of Maggots and Beckett's. But no, a really big effort right on the final lap. Secured a P3 finish. So no, mega effort from the top 3 today. And ultimately, we can only crown one race winner, and that's Rebel. First win of the season. Congrats. Been a while coming. It's finally arrived, and quite a racetrack to have it at as well, at Silverstone Grand Prix Circuit. But I think, folks, with everything said and done, it's now time for us to wrap up the stream. I've been Lane Everingham. Thank you, everyone, so much for watching, and I don't think we'll see you next week. I'm pretty sure we have the Easter break coming up for both American and European tiers coming up next week. I'm pretty sure that's what the calendar says. So I don't think we'll be seeing you next week. So instead, yeah, I thought as much, Rebellion. So we will see you in 2 weeks' time, in a fortnight's time, for round 11 of the championship at Circuit Paul Ricard for the French Grand Prix. It just might be the last time we see Circuit Paul Ricard in a Formula 1 game, as obviously it's not part of the calendar for the 2023 season, although knowing Codemasters, I wouldn't doubt that they actually put it into a DLC package for F1 23. But if they don't, well, this might be the last time we see the iconic tarmac lake within the middle of Le Castellet. But until then, it's goodbye.